Greetings and welcome to Growth Hacking Secrets. I'm your host, Mohammed Siddique from Atlanta, Georgia, and the co author of New Success Secrets available on Amazon. On this episode, we have a special guest, Daxy Perez. Daxy is the co founder of Legacy Podcasting. Daxy has his clients combine all together when it comes to podcasting. They have over 50 million downloads, 2,300 plus episodes, and 12 different niches. So if you have ever thought of doing podcasting to increase your exposure, your revenue, your reach, your authority, you need to lean forward and listen to this episode because we have a lot to learn from this. We are going to learn what not to do in podcasting and what to do in podcasting, and something if someone has failed in podcasting, we probably will know that too. So please join me to give a warm welcome to our guest, Daxy Perez. Daxy, welcome.
Hey, thanks for the introduction. Yeah.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate the time. When it comes to podcasting, I'm a kind of consider me a newbie student. Okay.
I don't think anybody's a newbie. Everyone is everyone's at their own level and phase. So
yeah. Wonderful. Daxy, let me start with this. Where were you? What happened? Who you were surrounded with that inspired you to the idea of a legacy podcasting, basically?
Yeah, so I actually I've been in the podcast space for a while. I worked at other agencies, and I started Legacy like in 2018, and then it officially with the partner towards the end of 18 and 19. We kind of like got our first clients, and we've been growing pretty rapidly. So that's just from my experience of producing audio. That's how I got into it. I was making music in high school. And I just used a skill I had and applied it to a market and an opportunity.
Can you promise me something on this episode? We don't have too much time. We just go directly into that one. You're going to give us your best answers. Okay, is that okay?
Yeah, I mean, I hope they're my best answers. I'll give you what I know.
Hey, the reason is because you have a 50 million downloads, many podcasts. You know what sucks, what doesn't suck, what perform the best. What are the top 3 mistakes to avoid in podcasting?
In podcasting, I would say is a lot of it has to do before you even turn on the mic and making sure you're doing the research to figure out how are you going to differentiate yourself and what do you feel like is not being spoken about in your market, and then how can you deliver that content in a way that is either entertaining or people are consuming it and get value and stick and then maybe like work with you, etc. So that's number one, not doing enough research on messaging and branding, etc., seeing what's going to work. Number 2 is not having a traffic source outside of the podcast. Podcasts don't have that great discoverability. So you have to funnel traffic from somewhere else to the podcast because it's long form, right? People won't go there first time they ever hear about you or see you. It's after they get some sort of impression or engagement with you, then they'll go listen. So that's number 1. So number 1 was the research ahead of time. Number 2 was not having another traffic source. And number 3 is consistency. Like it's the easiest one, but it's they're not long term. They're not in it to win it, I guess, because it's a marathon. So you have to be able to like pivot or evolve and find new ways or new opportunities to grow. So those are the big 3 mistakes I see. Because most podcasts quit. Like I think over 75% don't make it past 7 episodes. So that's a big mistake. And they probably didn't do the research. So.
Oh yeah, that's a big one. So let me ask you a follow-up on that one. How you keep going when after a 50 or 60 or 70 when episode they see what it's not about they're using the ROI calculator, amount of time, money spent, and everything research, and at the end, you know what? I'm getting a few hundred downloads, a few thousand downloads, and I'm not really getting a client on the other side. So that's probably self-talk, and they talk them out of that one. How do you keep going on that at that level?
If someone wants to stop, is what you're saying?
No, that's why people end up in stopping, and most of the time because they never keep going beyond that point. They self-talk. They justify, oh, I'm not getting enough downloads and enough not people buying my books or consulting or training engagements or whatever they're selling on the back end. there are not enough clients coming from that one, and they already have expense post-production work, bringing guests, a lot of time, and how they keep going, how they should keep going from that point onward when they have like a reflection point in the podcast.
Is that your question? What they should do at that point?
Yeah.
So there's multiple factors on why that can happen. A lot of it is I would always get asked for feedback before anything. Like it's easy to be in our head, but to ask your audience, like, hey, what do you like about the show? What do you not like? And then, I mean, getting an expert's opinion about, because like our agency, we're all about production quality, because people make first impressions like heavily on a podcast. They'll window shop, they'll look at it, and if they feel like it doesn't like look cool, they are less likely to resonate. Also, if it could be the audience you're targeting, who you're speaking to, you might want to like, niche down in certain audiences, because you can have the same message for a different group of people, but it will hit differently. So like I said, that's a dynamic question to know, like what to do at that point.
Yeah.
But I will say that, there's other ways to satisfy goals. Podcasting isn't a cure-all. If it's not hitting the goal, then try other ways. Although I do think it's the best, like as far as long form content and a lot of other cool aspects to it. But at the end of the day, if you have a goal, you want to hit it no matter what. So.
Wonderful. Daxy, what's your greatest failure in podcasting? What did you learn from it, and how did you recover from that?
My greatest failure in podcasting.
Yeah, because you're serving so many clients, you see one of the failure story, and what did you learn from that, and how did you recover from it?
So yeah, it's weird. I don't see them as failures. I see them as because to me, like when you mess up, like it's actually important because you need to learn.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's a tough question. I could say for me personally, because I as far as like our company, like there's not really any big failures we've had. We've always delivered on what we say we're gonna do. I will say that I can give you one is, when we launch a podcast, we do a giveaway campaign. If they're also doing another launch at the same time, a launch of a podcast, it'll ruin the success of it. Because you're trying to tell your audience to do two things, like, hey, go buy my course and go listen to my podcast. It won't work. So launch one thing at a time, I guess, is one lesson people could take. Two is I guess it's more from the creative standpoint. When you're interviewing, it's always important to be, or it's a good skill to develop, to be a good listener, to know good follow-up questions to ask that are in the moment. Like, because me personally, and what we tell our clients is to have questions as backups, but you want to kind of be in the conversation and allow there to be spontaneity, just like if you have a coffee with someone and you were genuinely interested. But then also there's other shows where there's formats and people know what to expect, etc. And then other failures, I don't know, probably not starting YouTube earlier. We're with a lot of clients, we're getting a lot of good results on YouTube. If it's a video podcast, audio podcasts on YouTube are really bad. They don't work. And messing more with like video content. We've done that. We've scaled a lot with video content recently. So
very good, very good. And you mentioned in the mistakes to avoid, there was like a not focusing on the source of traffic or like the marketing of the podcast outside of the podcasting platform. So what are the top 3 success secrets to grow your podcast successfully, like in terms of getting more subscribers? I want to focus on. Yeah.
I mean, so it's dependent on a few factors. One is where your audience, where do they exist? Two is where you want to put time and effort in. Mm-hmm. And for some people that might be LinkedIn, for some people that might be Clubhouse right now, for some people that might be paid ads. If they have a good paid ad and they're building an email list, that way. Some people might be Instagram. So just figuring out that one place where you're going to get discoverability by an algorithm. That's how you grow, by algorithms, and then funnel that to the podcast. LinkedIn, I like for a lot of industries. If you're in business, Clubhouse is great for all types of stuff right now, and it's also you can get early movers advantage on certain things because it's a new platform. TikTok is another big one. you know, TikTok is actually aging up. Like I know like adults using it now for entertainment, like just to laugh.
Yeah.
It's not just kids dancing anymore. It's also funny stuff on there too.
You are, by the way, you are active on TikTok?
No,
No?
for my sanity, no.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, I'm more active on LinkedIn now
Yeah.
than anything. You want to pick your poison. Get good at one first before you try to do everything. If you try to do everything, then
Yeah.
you're like your shiny object. So
Absolutely.
right now, like I'm just LinkedIn right now is my main focus.
Mhm. If someone asks you as a one tip to grow the podcast as the best one you ever kept it to yourself, what would you share?
I mean, it's what I just it's I guess other than what I just said
Yeah.
would be man, from what I've seen, like what gets the biggest like numbers for our clients is when they go viral on social media. Like, and there's nothing I mean, I guess if you have a big person you interview promote that your episode is another big way we've seen
Yeah.
sometimes. Or you getting on other podcasts that are big is another great way to grow, because podcast listeners are more likely to listen to your podcast.
Yeah.
But the biggest we've seen is going viral. And what's his name? Jordan Harbinger said that what works well for him is host read ads. So if he pays another podcast to shout his podcast out, that works for him. Yeah. So
Mhm.
those are my tips.
Yeah. No, wonderful. I appreciate thank you so much for sharing how the growth hacking secrets community can support you, Daxy.
Um, support. I'm not sure.
How we can help you. People are watching this now, how they can help you.
Oh, how can they help me? I don't ask for a lot. Like I live in always trying to give more than ask. So I guess connect with me on LinkedIn, follow me on Instagram, or listen to my podcast Success Secrets. That's about it. I don't really expect much from anybody, really.
Wonderful. I want you to check out legacypodcasting.com because it's really amazing place. Uh, Even he's not asking for it. I want you to say they help entrepreneurs leverage podcasting to get more customers, more influence, more revenues, more authority, and reach. Okay. So check that legacypodcasting.com. Thank you so much. Daxy, we are about to wrap up. You are my guest on a Growth Hacking Secret show today. I would like to ask this question as a kind of testimonial for the show. What would you say about your today's guest experience on a Growth Hacking Secret show?
Yeah, I appreciate you bringing me on and asking me questions so I can share my value and help people who are listening.
Thank you so much for your kind words. Really appreciate it. What would you say as a final word?
Final words. Yeah. Thanks for listening. Hit me up on LinkedIn or something if you want to ask me any questions or if you enjoyed the conversation.
Yeah, wonderful. Thank you so much, Daxy Perez, for sharing your wisdom with us today on the behalf of Growth Hacking Secrets community and our entire team. We really appreciate you. This is Mohammed Siddique signing off from Atlanta, Georgia. Until the next episode, all good wishes.